Ikit Claw, Chief Warlock Engineer, works tirelessly in the underempire of Skavenblight, push-testing the limits of machine and warpstone to build increasingly deadly weapons of mass destruction. Faithfully serving the great clan Scryer, Ikit is to credit blame for many technological advancements in Skaven society. So if you want to shoot, kill, and burn, maim your enemies in a torrent of warpfire, then it's time to do what we do every night, Ikit. Try to take over the world! In the lore, Ikit is responsible for more war crimes than your average RimWorld player. He was renowned among Skaven for being one of the greatest sorcerers of all time, completing a world tour of magical study before finally settling down in Skavenblight. This is where Ikit learned to stop worrying and love the doomsphere. A hulking mass of metal stuffed to the brim with warpstone, the doomsphere was Ikit's first attempt at creating a fantasy nuclear bomb. But like many Skaven inventions, it didn't end up working out so well. So instead, he invented chemical warfare and suicide bombers at the same time, unleashing an explosion of poisonous gas inside the dwarf hold of Carrick Cadrin, killing all inside and conquering the mighty city of Slayers. During the end times, Ikit even managed to sneak inside the Black Pyramid of Nagash and blow it sky high with a bunch of bombs. His final fate is not exactly clear in the lore, but some believe he tunneled through the earth and into the warp itself, becoming some sort of crazy ancient cyborg rat that lives on for millennia. In Total War Warhammer, his faction ability is Chief Warlock Engineer. This provides a hefty 20% increase to research rate to reflect Ikit's clever mind, a loyalty boost for new recruits as Clan Scryer is the dominant clan within Skaven society, a construction cost reduction for engineering buildings because Ikit demanded huge warp forges be built under Skavenblight, and last but not least, access to the Forbidden Workshop, which we'll talk about in detail later in the video. Ikit himself is the right fang of Lord Morskatar, the ruler of Clan Scryer, which grants him a recruit rank bonus and upkeep reduction for most Skaven weapon teams, the units that will be making up the vast majority of your army. Ikit's title of Warlock Engineer is fitting to his strengths. He's a powerful spellcaster with powerful inventions. Think plan your attack well, and your enemies will melt before they even lay a hand claw on your troops. When building his skill tree, I recommend focusing on buffing your weapon teams to their maximum potential, then picking up Ikit's spells next. On a Doom Wheel, Ikit can be a powerful force on the battlefield, so you can choose to put your remaining points into his melee abilities, but I personally prefer pushing to Lightning Strike and Quartermaster to help manage the expensiveness of a weapon team army. Worth noting is the extra point in Warp Lightning. While you don't need to put 2 points in here to advance the tree, the cooldown and reduced cost make this arguably the most busted spell in the game, allowing you to deal massive damage to a single unit every 10 seconds for only 5 winds of magic. Add this on top of the endless hail of weapon fire, and no army will stand a chance against you. For research, you're going to want to avoid most of the fluff, as your weapon team bonuses are all at the end of the tech tree and take some heavy investment to get into. After you've locked those in, I recommend going for all the plans technology, as it will help you with food generation as well as buffing your Vermintide. Special attention to the cadre of hench rats should be considered though, as the menace below will always summon a unit of clan rats, and most garrisons will use them as well. So even if your army is made of weapon teams, these little guys will still show up from time to time. Speaking of weapon teams, it's time to talk about Clan Scryer's Forbidden Workshop. Ikit Claw has a unique resource called Warp Fuel, which you can gain from winning battles, completing missions, or with certain hero actions. In the workshop, you can then harness this Warp Fuel into unique upgrades for your weapon teams and engineered monstrosities. Not only will you unlock buffs for your units, but spending a lot in one category will also unlock banners and regiments of renown. You can also build Doom Rockets in this menu, which are one-time use tactical nuclear missiles that you can unleash on the battlefield. A single Doom Rocket can let Ikit take capital cities with ease, and having one in your back pocket in case of emergency has saved my hide more times than I care to count. That said, it's best to focus your warp fuel into the weapon teams first, depending on what units you have available, and try to limit how trigger happy you get with the Doomsday button. In any Skaven army, a single weapon team is a powerhouse unit, but in Ikit's army, they can become an unstoppable force of death and destruction. My recommended army compositions often look like this. The more you can lean on Ikit's weapon teams, the better. All his strength comes from buffing these units, so you'll want to use Doom Flayers and Doom Wheels to tie down the enemy, while your Rattling Guns and Jezreels rip them apart. Warpfire and Grinders make for a good frontline, since most units will be heavily damaged by the time they reach them. The Grinders' Seismic Snare ability is definitely worth noting, as a free movement route is extremely powerful with this style of play. The biggest weakness of this army is positioning. You need to maintain high ground or line of sight in order for your units to shoot properly. So if you can't get a solid incline for your guns, make sure to use some form of checkerboard pattern or else you won't get to fire a shot. While warp lightning cannons and rattling guns are fantastical in their own right, the Skaven also get access to a few great schools of magic. For Ikit, let's talk about the Skaven spells of ruin, since they're the favorite of warlock engineers. If you've ever fought against Skaven, you know the power of warp lightning. This low-cost, long-range bombardment is your bread and butter, so cast it early and cast it often, especially on groups of tough armored units. Howling Warp Gale will help deal with any flying units looking to close the gap on your gun line, locking them in place while your gunners make short work of them. Death Frenzy can be handy on warp grinders or any summoned clan rats to help them pack an extra punch. Scorch and Crack Call do good work against a line of units, but in general, you'll want to lean more on the Warp Lightning for its value. Finally, Flensing Ruin can help you deal with any tougher heroes that need some focused fire. Ikit himself also gets access to the Brass Orb ability, which is a mini vortex spell that costs nothing to use. Mix this in with cheap Warp Lightning, and it's possible you'll never face a scenario where the other spells are needed. On the campaign layer, I'm going to suggest a somewhat irregular tactic that I've had a lot of success with in my Clan Scryer campaigns, and it's to focus primarily on the Skaven underempire instead of controlling a lot of territory directly. Your opening moves should focus on sacking and harassing East Dahlia, but never burning any of their cities down. Instead, once you have a solid army together, I recommend occupying Tilia and Sartosa, and then not taking a single other city until it's required for the win condition. Feel free to go to war with other factions, but only sack and expand your underempire, and take peace offers once you've gotten your money's worth. By using your Warlock Engineer to expand the underempire in tactical locations, and then building mine shafts, you can profit off the entire old world without ever having to step foot inside it. Focus capital cities for thievy hidey holes to maximize profit, and smaller settlements to keep your food in the positive. The Ritual Warlock Engineers can also build a unique laboratory that will not only boost your research rate, but help any additional lords gain free experience every turn. Between Ikit's passive and the Underempire bonuses, you'll be able to research all of the planned technologies by the time you approach the endgame. This means that if you're missing any of the 8 capital cities for your win conditions, you can use the Underempire to summon a monstrous vermintide that can take the city with ease. Don't neglect the Warren buildings in the Underempire either. The casualty replenishment and movement range boosts are massive, and they can allow you to completely heal an army in a single turn, then travel incredible distances via the Underway to reinforce other locations. In the workshop, the Doom Wheel upgrades have some great benefits even if you're not directly using the unit. The reduction to Warp Lightning cooldown is a must, and then upgrading your mounts will help out both Ikit and give a solid buff to any minor lords you might be using. If you'd like to learn more about Total War Warhammer and how to play other factions, then hit that like and subscribe, or you can come check me out live during the week over at twitch.tv/AgentNumberOne. In the meantime, I don't want to hear anything more about these so-called rat men that live underneath the city. That kind of heresy will get the witch hunter called on you.